And we're live. Good morning. Good morning. This is the Good Morning Education Show, and this is a holiday edition. And we're streaming from Lagos, Nigeria, West Africa to the entire world. My name is Rotimi Eitayo, and I'm excited to be your host today. And I have fantastic colleagues of mine, analysts and specialist experts and gurus who are going to be sharing the stage with me today, and we will be exploring several conversations and several views around the topic. We actually had a series that we started this week, and is going to be ending today. The series, the fifth part of the series is going to end today, and I always have my fantastic friends and colleagues in the house, and I'm sure by the time you hear their voice, you just see why I'm always excited every morning. Man, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good
Good
morning, Mr.
morning, Mr.
Rotimi. Good
Rotimi.
morning, Safety Chick.
Good morning, Prophet
I'm waiting for that
Jude.
signature laughter. Yeah. So if you don't laugh, it could be a cloned or hacked voice. We don't want some hacker to come in behind the scene because we're not seeing your faces. We don't even know if you have been kidnapped or not. All right.
You know my voice. You know my voice.
Of course, I know. But with all these tech things, dude, and I've been seeing some things you've been doing online. You've been creating
Uh,
for one cube, you've been giving the cube pot belly. You've been giving the
that 3D thing, that's fantastic 3D, man.
I'm
Modeling.
part of your class. I'm behind the scenes, so I'm watching with
Yes,
3D.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. That's the
Uh,
future.
and just before we start, one thing that I would say, I don't think I should have, not that I don't think I should, but um, one particular part of my work, and I'm sure you guys know, is that I travel a lot, I move around.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
yeah.
just knowing that Safety Chick has, in the space of some few weeks or few days, has been able to, clock some miles. She's been able to leave Lagos. She's been able to get across to Ogun State, from Ogun State to Ibadan. That's Oyo State. Now she's in Osun State. And there was a time she said in her interaction online that she was in Ibadan some days ago, and she saw some children, and I'm just feeling like Safety Chick, you're the one flying now. Flying and living the life, man.
She's living
Uh,
the life. Yeah.
living the life, man. Uh,
She's going around the
in
world.
fact,
She's
she
going
took she
around the
took
world.
she took selfie in a natural background. I was like, oh my god,
Mm.
we are
Hey,
selfie
Mr. Rotimi.
selfie take in the office. All right. Greetings to everyone across the world. If you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, we're excited you're joining us today. And please do let us know where you're streaming in from, whether you're coming in from Kenya, Dubai, United Arab Emirates, whether it's Ireland, whether it's Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Ghana, Conakry, wherever you are, please let us know and send something. Say hello, say hi, ask questions. Today we're going to give room for questions, and I believe it's going to be a great time together. And also, I like us to appreciate those who constantly connect with us every morning. You make our morning great. And today's show is dedicated to you guys. And as usual, whenever we want to appreciate anything or anyone, we ring the bell of blessing. So,
Yes.
yeah, and I have a prophetic permission by the prophet Jude to carry out this ringing of the bell till
Right on, right on,
we
right on.
migrate to the tech den.
Right on, man.
Yeah. So and another beautiful thing. I don't know. Maybe I should stop saying all this intro. Okay. You know what, guys?
Yep.
We're going to talk about headlines quickly, and then we'll go straight to the conversation. But before we do that, right? I just want to ask you, and I'm going to start with Jude, and I'll move to Safety Chick. What excites you about the Good Morning Education Show? Just tell me, and let the world hear.
Mm. Getting to see like-minded educators and professionals and also the audience and their views, because sometimes we try to see things from a perspective, and when we hear other people's perspective, okay, we down say, okay, let's balance it. So, and sometimes, most times, also the exposition we get from each other and or the audience is very key.
Safety check.
Yeah, very true. For me too, that's just it, the frank conversations that we have from different perspectives, different angles on the same topic. It's so enriching. I really love the diversity of the conversations we have here.
Awesome. And one thing that keeps how do I put it now, gladdening my heart is that sometimes when we have conversations and some views, sometimes you hear different perspective, but then you also see that everything is still driving towards one pattern, that we want to talk about the issues, but we want to provide possible solutions. And we are not being toxic about it in our approach and in our manner. Yeah. Even though I have to get the extinguisher from Safety Chick online. So we started a series that was actually induced the conversation on the flashback Friday was what led to the series of this week, and we're talking about what shapes a child. And we decided to break it further into aspects. So Monday, we talked about what shapes a child, and we're talking about the parent, right? And then on Tuesday, we talked about what shapes the child, and we're looking at it from the teacher's perspective. And then Wednesday, we also talked about what shapes the child, and then we took a slight turn into the environment. And then from the environment, we went further to talk about the school activities. And today, we will be talking about what shapes the child from the perspective of extracurricular activities. And I'm excited about the topic because I have a lot of questions to ask. So, who wants to go first? Safety Chick or Jude?
Let's trend on safety ground.
Ah,
Hey, God, dude.
Let's trend
Okay.
on safety ground.
yeah, you're having two against one. It feels unfair.
No
Safety Chick, you know
problem.
I'm
Bring
always
it
on your
on.
side.
I can do
Eh?
it. Yes, I
You,
can do it.
you
Yes.
want us to bring it on?
Yes,
Like
bring
they
it
always,
on.
Dude,
like they always
game
say,
face.
ladies first, ladies
Game,
first.
game face on. Game face on. Okay, someone is asking where are the other members of the team? Ronke, Posh, Rhoda,
They're
Eben.
on the
Well,
way.
he said
I said they're on their way now. They're on
yeah,
their way
yeah.
to they're way to the studio. They're on their way to the studio.
It sounds like a song, dude.
That's what we hear on news now. You're on their way to the studio.
The traffic
The
situation
traffic.
is so bad. And
Yes, yes.
yeah. I need to ring the bell for that.
Oh my
I just thought
gosh.
today is not funny Friday because we're just laughing. I'll call it Freestyle Friday. All right. Thank you all for joining, and thank you all for the comments. I believe our colleagues will join us any moment from now. And if they don't join us today, they are with us in spirit. Trust me. We are always together. We are always together. So once they get online, you will know. We will know. But if not, they'll definitely join us. So someone is asking a very critical question. And the person is saying, why is Rotimi the only one with his video on? Is that a defect with Facebook Live video? No, Rotimi is not the only one. Thankfully, Rhoda is with me on the video today. Rhoda, good
Morning,
morning.
Rhoda. Good morning, Rhoda. Good
Morning.
morning, Rhoda. Good
Welcome.
morning, Rhoda.
Good
I'm
morning.
singing. I'm rapping for Rhoda.
I'm not
Rhoda
doing.
is Rhoda. Rhoda, you are not doing well. You are not doing well.
Doing well.
You are
And then
not
you
doing
came
well.
right back at me.
You are
Okay, doing
wearing
well.
executive teacher shirt, and then
Yes,
you are also sitting on an executive chair that
yes.
you should have transferred to an executive office.
Mm-hmm.
With, you
Look at
understand?
why are you leaking out our
Why is
secret?
my chair missing in transit?
Your chair is not missing in transit, is in transit.
Rhoda,
Nice.
Rhoda. Before the road swallow the chair. You know Nigeria things swallow a lot. It's a country of swallow.
A
We eat
lot.
eba swallow. Money
That's why.
swallow. Chair swallow.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning to the
Good
Good
morning.
Morning Education Show listeners, and of course, our great partners. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. And to all our Muslim brothers and sisters celebrating today, I believe that it's a great holiday for them. So we want to celebrate with them and wish them the best of celebrations, I believe. So
Yes.
we are going straight to the topic. In fact, no headline, because headlines almost took our heads yesterday. So
Yeah.
ain't no headline today. All right.
No.
So let's start. We are going to start with safety chick. There was a little conspiracy that took place, but now it's 2-2. So safety chick seems a little bit more comfortable.
It's balanced now.
It was 2-1 before Rhoda. We're about to eat safety chick raw.
Nah, here. No worries.
The curriculum theorist to the rescue.
Oh,
It looks like we're on Power Rangers. Anyway, enough of that. So we're talking about what shapes the child, and it's been an interesting week. And today we want to take a step further in the conversation. So we want to look at it from the fact that there's an aspect called extracurricular activities. Extracurricular activities. So the school regularly has what you call the curricular focus, the curricular activities. And in some cases, there are some additions which we call the co-curricular. But now today we are looking at it from the extracurricular activity. How does that shape a child? How does that affect a child's development? Because sometimes a lot of people think it's just an avenue to create wealth for the vendor, or it's just an avenue to raise tuition, additional income stream to the school. But sometimes if you don't look at the value, the place, and the magic it can create, we might miss out on all the good and just, treat it as an invoice item, a line item in the strips of school. So I want us to really spend some time talk about it. So safety check, what's your thought? What's your take on extracurricular activities?
So I believe that extracurricular activities are great in shaping a child's outlook, most especially because when children get into the school environment, they would meet all sorts of people, and that is the time to be exposed to all sorts of learning. Because again, you can't tell what is going to be that child's interest in future. So it's always best to give as many opportunities as possible so that the child can get places of alignment and have a well-rounded view, and that helps them to make more empowered decisions. So I know when I went to secondary school, my kind of extracurricular activities is not the way we have in schools now, where schools do robotics and all. But then in my own school, it wasn't like it was a paid thing that an external vendor would come in. It was our own teachers that were spread across to teach us on different things. So, for example, we had press club, we had cultural dance. I'm Igbo, right? But my secondary school was in Akwa Ibom. I can speak and I understand Ibibio
Yeah, this
because I
acquirable
was in that
safety.
environment, and
Mm.
and
So, so,
I danced. Yeah, it's just like at the basic of the basic. I dance their cultural dance, and do you know sometimes, in fact, my prayer life also developed, even though I had a great foundation because of the kind of home I came from. But my prayer life got to a different level in my secondary school. There was a day here, I just saw myself singing one Ibibio song. And when I did the translation, God was actually saying something powerful to me, and I was wondering. So, imagine a song I hadn't sang in years coming to me at that time, and it was a profound message. So, I'm saying all that to say that all these the activities have a way of shaping a child in terms of the things you get to learn, and also in terms of character building. I'll keep on talking about character when I talk about extra activities, because I have seen how all those things contributed to help me have the kind of outlook I have on life, and has helped me to spread my light to the people within my sphere. Because there are just some things that I don't just see myself doing because of how I was raised. And then again, the yes, that's basically it. You learn a lot, and then your character just forms, and it translates into how you do things going forward. Yes, that's
Awesome,
it.
awesome. Rhoda, you want to say something? You want to add to
Um,
that?
yeah, we're in the world. Everybody knows I'm a curricularist, and this is our world. Our world around, and the way we define curriculum is basically to say that curriculum is the totality of experiences a person, a learner is going to, have to engage in the process of learning, teaching and learning, or in the process of, or consuming or growing a skill or developing a talent, or, and is that what we like to call it, the blueprint, for all of these things to be able to be enabled on. And we like to say it's mostly, it should be prescriptive, but it should also be very much direct, and extracurricular activities fall in the realm of what curricular is deal with. When we talk about the totality of experiences that the child goes through, it's very critical, because this is why we are having this conversation and why it was dedicated for this week. Because the conversation is what shapes a child. And that's exactly what education serves, it plays its own pivotal role in shaping a child. And that's what we're looking for when we say education is towards national development. It is for the same reason. And so extracurricular activities is one of those, very very targeted activities that schools can leverage on. I often look at it as a career pathway for a lot of children. And so when we talk about, how to get children engaged in other words, non-academic activities or non-pure academic activities, that's where the extracurricular comes in. And you can hear loudly an example from Ugochi, where she's talking about her prayer life, she's talking about, her character development, and she's talking about
And dancing skills too.
yes, advanced skills. And just yesterday,
Dancing skills, dancing. She
that,
learned how to dance.
and even from yesterday, from yesterday's conversation, when we're talking about even just generally your value system, right? And so it's really critical when it comes to the experience that a child should have in schools. And I would like to add here that it's a great opportunity for schools even to celebrate their unique value proposition. I like to talk about that as well, because even in the public space, you find there's some head teachers who tell you, hey, my school is different, and that's because I do X, Y, Z. Do you understand? And so I see it more as an opportunity for schools to broaden their scope, because extracurricular activities doesn't just rely on clubs, right? It is volunteering, it is internship,
Awesome.
and things like that. So that's something that we want to talk about across all school levels.
I really love the way you ended that part, because a lot of people think extracurricular activity or activities are expressed in clubs. And we need to get it out there for those who are listening today, and to all who listen via replay or watch us via replay. And we need to understand that powerful point Rhoda made. Extracurricular activities are not limited to clubs. In fact, if you limit it to club, then the entire experience and essence will be limiting. You understand? Jude.
Yes.
Can you just say something about that as well?
I agree with Safety Check and Rhoda. And for real fact, I think club just started. No, not that they just started, but they became more widely popular this age, during my time in school, we had clubs, we had Boy Scout and all those, but we had other things we do outside those club or those settings. And for example, we had time where we played tennis, even just not even guided by the teacher per se, but just students playing tennis, and while we waited for our lesson. So we had things we did with and without the help of the teacher, but the school was also aware of it. And sometimes they even pick students from those settings, like maybe the best tennis player. Are you getting it? So we kind of use it to even vote for ourselves that there's a competition coming on. Who is the best tennis player among you? And school hasn't actually trained us for any tennis competition. So automatically we just pick ourselves. Okay, this person based on how we have been playing at the back end of it. So it's not subject to club, and it actually shapes the greater part of a child's experience. And most children or students also find their talents at that point, because you have students who take for example, I learned a lot about computing and maybe video gaming when I was in maybe primary 5 6 at that time. And it wasn't that it was associated with school, but at least I was able to know that okay, I have more passion for things that has to do with gadgets, things that has to do with computing, because then I was more focused on the hardware part of our of repairs and all that during my primary 5 and 6. But when I started seeing video games, I started seeing possibility that okay, there's something more than just this hardware. There's computing. So I started getting getting more interested in computing too. And I found out that it's a fulfilling experience if well explored, and it actually exposes a child to greater part of what they will become in life.
Fantastic. So I want to ask us this question, right? Um, I know Rhoda would
Okay. Can we hear ourselves too? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh,
It's wrote to me that it's frozen.
He's referring to his network.
how do we address that aspect as the case
Repeat,
is?
repeat
Because I
again.
feel that extra. Hello, can you hear me?
frozen
Repeat
for
again. Yes.
Hello.
Repeat.
we can hear you
Repeat.
now.
Oh,
You
okay.
were
Can hear you.
Oh, sorry about that. So I said we know that we hear about the issues of students or children not being academically inclined, right?
Yes.
And in some cases, that that extracurricular activity becomes a route for expression to ensure that education is still complete in the entire. Because if you're not careful, the people pass through the school process and they are disadvantaged just being in school.
Yeah.
So I would like you to touch on that, because we're talking about how it shapes children. I feel that we are putting a lot of investment heavily on the academic, which is the major part, which is curricular part of it. But I think there might be need for diversification or divesting into the place of the co-curricular, especially the extracurricular, to ensure that the children who are not academically inclined could also, have some form of soccer.
I like this question because for someone like me who's in the world of curriculum and inclusion, it is sometimes we question ourselves about, what is academia, you know, because there's no field that does not have an academia attached to it. Even if it was carpentry, there's academia to carpentry. And then there's because when we talk about academia, we're talking about the theory around and the thinking around how things work. And then there are letters and lettered people who just help us to think through it, put it down in a piece of document, write it out as an instructional material, create a manual, and then we can create, and then we can get to work, right? And so, yes, there are kids who don't show core academia, right? That kids don't kind of like show that. But I always try to say that, which is why I always try to say, schooling as we know it should be experiential. It should be a really wide spectrum of things. There is no child I know that will walk into a school, and schools normally offer a wide range of subjects, that cannot be good at one thing. And so
Yes,
if
yes,
child is
yes.
not, if you run a school and you have not every child in your class, or there's a child in your school that is not good at anything, believe me, you're doing something wrong. Believe me, you're
Definitely,
doing something wrong. Because
definitely.
that means that you've not factored what that child can be, what that child is successful in. Is it that you're not providing it, or you're not teaching it well? And so it's always, I know it kind of sounds like an extreme, and in curriculum, we try to not go into any extremes. But the point is that when you think about the total experience of the child in the school, it must definitely run from mathematics, for the field of mathematics, from the field of languages, from the field of humanities, and from the field of commerce, and then of science, and then probably liberal arts, for those who have it much more extended. But then there must be something that this child is good at. Having said that, in Canada, they have something that that is operating called cooperative education. And it's just a part of system that creates a career path as well. So it kind of like connects children right from the secondary school, in secondary school, connects the children from that point to the world of work, and while they're still in school. And which is why I mentioned volunteering and internship. And the fact that a child should find expression within the school is something that we cannot look away from. And so to answer your question, basically, there are children, yes, that may not apparently show you what they can do in terms of the core academia, but then that is not to blame the child. Really, you need to look into your system. But then let's just say you are not able to. That is the opportunity of extracurricular. There's some children who express themselves. I've heard that some schools offer additional languages as extracurricular. I don't know why, or maybe because it's something they have French club. Okay, I get that. They then have art club. I'm like, art is everywhere. Like there's no reason why art should not be integrated in your language, your sciences, things like that. But then there must be that multiple means of expression, like we say in universal design for learning, multiple means for representation. And so those are the kinds of things that we're looking out for. So it is important. It is very important for you to have extracurricular activities. No matter how minimal you must make sure that is there within your school system. And we had it while we're growing up.
Okay, so Jude, let me ask
Yes.
Jude. So how I asked this question yesterday, but because we were really out of time yesterday and the conversations we're having, we're not able to get to, how do we put it, to deal or trash with this matter. And why I'm saying this is because a lot of people have questions. Who should demand for what? Should extracurricular activity be student-led, student-driven? Should it be parent-driven? Rhoda, why are you laughing now? Okay, Jude, I'm not asking again. You just answer. I am angry. I'm angry.
If it should be parent or school driven, or what, is that what you asked?
Yeah, because when we look at, because if you look at it, I think that some things are just tied to preference, and like what I was saying, arts should be integrated, but some people, they can tell you that, look, this is what we're doing. Some people don't believe that anything apart from football is a waste of time. Why? Because probably football gets the center stage, and not every child, not everyone will get the opportunity to make the team, a football team. Not even everybody will get the opportunity to play football. In fact, sometimes the field is so sacred for some schools that because they have football well expressed, if you are not in the football club, you can't even go on the field. As in, it's like it's as if the grass will die once your feet touch it. It's only meant for those who made the team. So, and there are lots of things that, the extracurricular, like you said, it's not just clubs. You understand? The school itself should be experiential enough that is not only focused on curricular activities.
Right. That's right.
Okay. I get that point you were making. Uh, when it comes to club, I think there's a from what I've seen anyway, from my setting, from what I've seen, is that it's not done in the classroom. For example, the art club. It's not like the students or the school doesn't take art as a subject, but making it a club just gives students more opportunity to work or do fun things that would almost be impossible to do in the class because of time. Are you getting it? So if, for example, you have a normal class that takes 30, 35 minutes, in the club it takes up to an hour or an hour plus. So that's where clubs comes in handy for making extra time for children to engage in what they love to do. Then now for the non-club activities, it's for a school. They should provide a school is almost like a government or a platform for things to thrive, extracurricular activities to thrive. So you can't imagine somebody very interested in helping students participate in one sport or the other just come and pick the students. No, they go through the school, right? And they can't go to the homes of the students because maybe their parents and all that. So schools is just almost like a government or a platform provided for extracurricular activities to thrive. And it boils down on the school to make as much extracurricular activities possible so that students could find their expressions in different forms and shapes. And it's also boosts the morale and confidences of schools. Even for I know of what they call it, a special, let me not call him special need, but I know of a child living with special need, and in most academics that child is so not good, but in sports that child shines like star, and that child gets recognition, and that child's confidence is boosted because of just sports. And not in all sports, I think in race, in running or so, that child can run for Christ. I call him Forrest Gump. So automatically that child is able to express himself in running, right? And that is a good way to actually even inculcate any other subject. If you want to teach him maths, you can start teaching him from running. If you want to teach him English language, you can start teaching him or her from that point of that stand, at least that place he has good confidence. So it's school is more of a platform that helps build extracurricular activity.
Fantastic, fantastic. So I would like us to answer this question. I'm taking it to Safety Chick because I know she has a little bit of experience on this route and she's really advocated for it in time past. So can we say that volunteering and internships are options to explore when we are talking about extracurricular activity? Because we are still also driving it to not it just being an item, but how it shapes a child, how it helps in children development. So Safety Chick, over to you.
I feel like shouting, yes, 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 yes. Because see,
Right there.
as we're just talking now, one image just flashed in my mind. When I was in the
Oh
Okay,
my
US
just an
God.
in
image from Akwa Ibom.
2018. No, I'm taking
Okay,
it
I
now to
know
the
that thing in
US.
the evening.
Okay,
Okay,
okay. You say
When
US.
I went when I went for the Mandela
carry
Fellowship in
on.
the US, um I was I was posted to Arizona State University, so I was in Phoenix. We had to go and do a volunteer work at oh gosh, I can't remember their name now, but this facility, what they do is they pack food together, and this food is delivered for free to different countries. So for that day, we were packing food for Thailand. And what I saw was that many people, grandparents were there with their children. People came to celebrate their birthdays, packing food for others. So you could see that there were many young people, from children in primary school to teenagers, and it's almost like a culture. And I remember that every week we had gone to do any volunteering activity in the US, there were always children that were a part of the process. What that told me was that they were already putting it in their hearts that you need to be willing to do something for others. Imagine that a child like that growing, and you know that you've done several activities to help people in other countries. Those are the kinds of children that maybe a year after secondary school, they might even say they want to take 1 year to tour the world, as opposed to just going straight to the university, because they are more open-minded. They see other things. They already see capacities to help people. And that is why you see most children of foreigners, a lot of them are not really scared of going to another country to go and work or to get an experience there, because somehow it's been imputed into growing up. So that is one of the things we should do. We should encourage a culture of children joining us to volunteer. It's not only adults. You are going to Motherless Babies Home, you went by yourself. You are going to maybe St. Patrick, you went. Carry them along. Let them get involved. Let them do something for other people. Then also internship during the holidays. It's not enough to send them to camps, summer camps, to go and learn. Let them go and work somewhere. I remember that growing up, we had the first business center in my area at the time, and business center rather. So all this NITEL, PHC, and all those things. So my dad had that every day after school. If we're not working, we're not doing anything at home, we would go there to work and see how things were done. During the holiday, we had shifts. So those things helped you. And it was even in the course of working our shift that my immediate younger brother discovered his love for computers. And today, that guy has worked for many of the top companies in the world, from Google. In fact, the guy has even moved to Amazon, Amazon now. But it started because of what he discovered interning in his father's business. So those things are really important. They create an opportunity for children to just think outside the box, because some of these things may not be taught in class, but experiencing it in real time, it teaches compassion, it teaches thinking out of the box, it teaches leadership. Honestly, it teaches leadership. And you know, when I say that I started leading at age 9, it looks like maybe I'm just saying things, but that was my reality. So I'm too organized. If I find myself in any situation, I'm already thinking, how can things work? Because I did it for so many years that it's now second nature. So putting out the fire.
It's filling out what curricularists have always said about, you know, the totality of experiences and what children should experience and a young adults should experience during the school. Now we're even talking about, we're not just talking about 100, we're not talking about nursery or primary or secondary, or we're talking about the whole education experience here. And very critical for the different stages is what can happen there. So when can volunteering happen? You know, when can volunteering can happen right off the bat. Like there's in your school neighborhood, teaching the children to clean up. It's just to clean up the neighborhood in your school. One period out of 2 weeks, bi-weekly, is not too much to get the children out in your neighborhood to just go around your school. Now, there are dangers, I get that. There are schools that can't even happen because of where they are located. But that's also policy problems, isn't it? Because why should a school be located in a place that is dangerous, right? So there's so many things to come back, you know, that these are realities, but should they be, right? So it's okay. But the point is being that there are so many schools, and go to drill them out. Leadership. For me, I will add independence, confidence.
Yes.
Career, work skills, future world of work skills. Did I mention leadership? Yes, leadership. These are in fact, cooperation, collaboration, creativity. These are the things when people talk about these words, they like sound so oh, it's not possible. How do you infuse creativity? Look, volunteering. How do you infuse collaboration? Volunteering. These things do happen. It's kind of like what we say, like if there is no brainstorming in your everyday lesson in the classroom, you can't build collaboration effectively. So there's some of these activities are not like things that you have to do for like 2 weeks or 2 hours.
Rhoda, sometimes you hear people say that the reason for the model they have adopted is because the moment you begin to share or expose, or how do I use another word? The moment you begin to go all out and become visible in how you, because there are certain things that you will have to do that you can't keep close lead on. So a lot of people feel that it gives room for competitors to spot methodologies and approach. Uh, or you
And
know
take
those
over
kind of, you know,
and take over
there
and
are
take over.
some conversations around this. Dude, I'm sure you've heard things like that before. Some
Definitely,
people,
definitely.
some people go through a model just because they feel, for me to have a competitive edge, I need
I
to
have
keep it close circuit, right? If
trade
I
secret.
start,
That's trade secret.
so, and that actually robs the children. So it's like a greater good is lost at the expense of one particular point. The point might make sense, but I don't know. Brother, you're nodding your
It's
head.
actually it's a smart way of thinking. It's a small way of thinking because
Thank
uh
you. Thank
we are
you.
if
Mm.
look at we are in this culture. I don't know why in Nigeria we're in this culture where we hoard knowledge to the point of we don't even know anything. Go to YouTube, you will learn like 1 million things, and these are given free, and that doesn't make the person giving it free less or make them because it shows that we don't even know what we know. We don't even we are so limited in how we think that we want to hoard everything. We want to hoard the little we even know. And and it's so funny that the more you give, or the more you actually teach people or share a knowledge with people, the more you know. I don't know how people. That's how it works for me. I don't know if it works like that for
Apart
other
from
people.
that, dude, what you're trying to say, let me buttress on that. Apart from that, um, when you actually share knowledge, especially knowledge that is not just information, knowledge that is either benchmarked as a philosophy or benchmarked as a model, you need proof that it has gone round. You need it to
Round.
be tested to different
Yes.
realities. There's
Yes. Yes.
sometimes you hear us say quotes, or you hear us make reference to models. It's because it's not just that it sounds nice or it worked for one, but because people have shared it, people have tried and tested it. The proof on that model is the usage. And then
Usage.
someone
Yes.
can trust this application. Why? Because this thing has gone round and it's something that people have proved to be true.
True.
So there are certain things that no matter how novel it is to you, you must be willing to put a measure or a version of it to the
Outside.
open or public domain so that it can meet the test of usability, test of likability, test of functionality, as the case may
Let
be.
me give you a
You
practical
understand?
example of what you are saying, Mr. Rotimi. So very recently, I started this program to equip rehabilitated youths who have gone into substance abuse with digital skills. Now, the thing is, many times when people want to integrate people with mental health challenges, drug abuse challenges, the plan for reintegration is vocational skills. So, plumbing, shoemaking, and all that. And I'm coming up saying that we need to equip them with digital skills because if nothing else, the pandemic has shown that it's important for
Ah,
everybody to have this skill. Now,
that's
we created our
that.
plan.
Yes. Yes.
Wait, I'm going somewhere. So we created our plan, right? And we were supposed to execute. Guess what? At the point of execution, we now saw that in one of the locations we were supposed to execute in, there was a language barrier. So the initial plan was the users by themselves will go to the tech platform, learn the skills, and then we monitor their weekly progress, and at the end they graduate. But now, because we discovered that those in Kaduna, there was a language barrier, we had to tweak for Kaduna. So now in Kaduna, we had to train facilitators who are conversant in English and Hausa, who will learn, then go and train these other people in Hausa. We also got another iteration where it's not just about the people, the drug, and those who have abused drugs, those in correctional homes too. Now, if we had not put it out there, we wouldn't have seen the other dimensions that can occur. And we are willing to iterate and grow. So many times people hoard knowledge, they want it to be only them, so they will say, yeah, doing that. The sky is really wide enough. And you shouldn't be afraid that somebody is learning from you. You see, if it came from you, it cannot finish. As long as
At
you keep
all,
learning, you
at
keep
all,
evolving, your
at
knowledge.
all,
I think people
at
just have
all.
this is it poverty mentality? You think if people know, it will finish. It cannot finish. As long as
It's
you keep
poverty
doing,
mentality.
yes, as long as you keep
Okay.
doing what you're doing, you have this abundance mindset that there is so much more. You are not bothered about if somebody see our trade secret, they not learn. Because
Let,
the truth
let,
is
let
there
me
is really
let me
nothing new on.
let me give you a scenario or a situation I am in, or I kind of met. Okay, remember, Rhoda,
Yeah.
that I used to train premium on Google Classroom, this free learning management system, right?
Yeah.
Now, I will have lots of people coming into it, and
Right.
lot of my mentees are now training on it. So it simply tells me that Oga, scale up.
Simple.
That's it. And I
Yes.
feel proud that they are coming into it. And I don't feel threatened, because I know, okay, next level, what is the next thing to be doing? Because that's how you grow in
That's it.
knowledge. Not, you don't stay in one
That's
place
it.
and want to dominate or feel you know everything. So automatically it shows that my mentees are doing well. People are
Yes.
embracing it due to the pandemic, thank God, sort of. And it means, what is Mr. Jude to be doing? You should take it to the next level. So automatically, next level, I start deciding this is the part again. So automatically, I see it as a progress for me and for people coming under me. I don't see it as a threat like most people will see it and start hoarding or start,
It's
man.
food.
Absolutely. I
The
should.
food.
Okay.
Let's say this: the food of expertise is products and services. That's the food of expertise. Believe me, you don't want to share. You're not yet an expert.
At
When you're
all.
an expert,
At all.
you will know so much that all you can do is to share it, and you can't help
Yes.
but share it, because that's the place of expertise. Because you need to transfer or share and collaborate values, skills, attitudes, solutions. An expert is always about solutions, right? So if you're still hoarding, there's a level of expertise you need to receive. And then because when you get there, then you realize that there's nothing really to hide.
Really.
You just
Because
are going to be feeling from
go,
from the spring of expertise, and it's just going to be coming out and coming out. And let me tell you something: scaling will not be a problem,
At
because
Yes.
upscaling will not be a problem, but
all.
scaling will not.
At all.
And think about, we at Bridge, and I like to talk about Bridge a lot because I'm proud of where I work currently. We have our WhatsApp mobile quizzes, right? It's open to everybody to have their child engage in those exercises as a form of assessment, formative assessment, whatever you choose to call it. It is open. So we have our worksheets open.
I saw
Anybody
it.
can
I saw you were using Google Sites, which was amazing. You didn't need to spend money on building websites.
absolutely go there. We have it.
you
It's
know,
all there for you, and you
so you know
just
that.
don't need.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Rotimi.
That's actually the reason, and I'm going to be sharing. I know, I'm sure you noticed the teacher diversification courses today, this evening, 3 to
Yes,
5 p.m. And I'm going to be sharing some things I've never ever taught before.
that's right.
This evening, 3 to 5 p.m. is going to be on YouTube live. Now, let me tell you what I discovered. The reason a lot of people do not have more and they cannot show more, they cannot do more, is because over the years, what we have tried to do is we have mastered, the mastery of keeping things to scale to our image. And there's
Image.
so much that an individual could do. Knowledge requires expression. Are you getting it? Now, what we are saying is we're not saying do not have a business model. We're not saying do not have a strategy or marketing. We're not saying that empty yourself out, and not have value for knowledge. There are ways and methods to manage your messaging to the point where it's either monetized and the likes of it. And sometimes, no thanks to so many people who teach and train people and coach people, out of context. So they say, you know a lot of things. How would you be sharing for free? You monetize on see, even when it comes to monetizing of knowledge, a lot of people don't understand. There's a place of market entry. Do you understand? And there's an economy behind free. Do you get it?
Yes.
So even the
Yes.
people talking about the market, the teaser, the sampling, the activation, they are proven methods that are over 200 years old method. Right? The great brands, I don't want to mention names, they use it, sampling, activation, all these things are market entry aspects. Do you understand? And I'll be teaching some of those things later today. But what I wanted to say is this. From what you guys are saying, I think it's quite instructive that every educator, every education professional, stakeholder, and school out there might need to understand that extracurricular activity doesn't have the extra if it is static. It means that and please, if I'm wrong, please let me know. It means that it's possible that we might need to look at a transitional kind of extracurricular activity where it's either themed or reviewed per time and period. There are certain things we're not saying they are bad or not important, but we might need to keep evolving. You understand? You know, so extracurricular activity is not it shouldn't. So permit me to use, I don't know why I always use ballet as an example, but ballet might not be a standard static thing. You know, you might need to have it adopted for a theme or add on other things outside that. What's your thought?
Can I say something? Can I say something quickly? One of the biggest challenges we have in Nigeria is corruption. And I tell you why. It's because education has largely not played its role in Nigeria in killing corruption. And you've heard me many times talk about how we can weave in corruption into our curriculum. That's separate conversation for another time. But there is a place in curriculum that we say that is called student voice and choice. And sometimes it doesn't find expression in the classroom because there is really no way sometimes to amplify the platform called student voice and choice. But it's one of the places where extracurricular thrive, where there are multiple opportunities for children, for us as education providers, planners, and policymakers to institutionalize certain things that can change the narrative for the next generation. And the next generation, that is the people that we're looking for to change this narrative that it's okay to jump the traffic. It's okay to do all of those, funny things. But when I'm talking about student voice and choice, I'm talking about an extracurricular activity that is called something student government, right? So we need to be open and wide enough to see extracurricular activities as opportunities to empower young people to do different, even if it was just to do and act different. So extracurricular in that world is part of the things that shapes the child and shapes the nation, shapes the community, shapes the people, right? So where you amplify the voice of you amplify the student voice and choice, an opportunity there is with student government, having student governments and having and what I know some schools that run elections. Have you seen? You saw this last year. I think it was last year. There was one thing there's something that went viral, and the students were campaigning. And really, truly, they didn't quite behave well in that particular one I saw. But it's still a reflection of the society in the school system. That's what it is. And so if you start now, you start looking at your extracurricular activities as something, a unique position for you to change the narrative, to just change that narrative with the young people. And then student government is one opportunity for raising the next generation. Look, you can say as a school owner that any child that walks out from a school is not going to be corrupt, because this is what you have done. You've ingrained the culture, but you found expression in extracurricular activities because you couldn't do it anywhere else, right? And so this is the kind of things we're talking about. So I just really needed to say that out, because there's an opportunity to shape. We're talking about shaping, but you might be shaping the child towards national development, shaping the child towards reshaping the country or the nation.
Let's say this, right? We'll go to the comments, but before we get to the comments, I just want us to say this, or to get this. I noticed in some countries, and I've been privileged to visit some countries across the world. I noticed that because there is a place for not just extracurricular activities, but there's a place for integration of end-to-end value within education. Some people do not leave the burden to the schools alone. And this is where professional stakeholders and in some cases, educators need to open their eyes and open their ears. Sometimes the school might not be able to carry out effectively the value of a particular extracurricular activity domain. And in some cases, some people see that gap and rise up to the challenge to close the gap, and schools subscribe to them. We have not really gotten it well. We are still in the agency aspect of it in Nigeria. So you have special subject teachers. You have a karate teacher going shop by shop to schools. But imagine that we had in Bagada, there was a Bagada karate studio. In Surulere, we had the Surulere Karate Lab. In Osun State, where Safety Chick is, as she's having a vacation, she had the Osun Karate Lounge, that kind of. Now, the school equidistant or the homes equidistant to that lab becomes a school, but not curricular school, an extracurricular school that schools can have their schedule, make do with the facility that is purpose built for that, so that the value of it comes. Sometimes the things we like to identify that we've done something, but we don't go all the way. And at the end of the day, it's as good as we didn't do anything. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Hello?
Yes.
Yes,
So
I
we
can
can
hear
hear
you.
Yes, we can hear you.
That's for me, it's a critical thing. How many Boy Scouts have gone camping? How many Girls Guides have? I don't know. How many of them have
In addition to what you're saying, extracurricular is like we've been saying career path, but it's also that career path is as a career path. It's also an entry to industry, right?
Yes,
We are
yes.
looking. We're not really exhausted it as a manner or as a platform for opening up industry, and that's exactly what we're saying. So sometimes the academia is blamed for the disconnect between itself and industry revolution. And that's part of what, this part of the world, sub-Saharan Africa, Nigeria in particular, suffers from. Because the academia must feed industry, right? And so when academia is stuck in old traditional, ways of teaching, I'm sorry, it's not probably we're not going to find reference or relevance or even expression in industry. There's so many look, the digital industry has come to stay. It will never go again. It will never ever go again. So if academia is continually disconnected from it, schools who are ready to take this baton have another arm of themselves that they have not yet seen as a business, right? I'm
Okay.
talking about the private sector now. So it's an
So
opportunity.
Yeah.
The extracurricular in itself is another arm of the school that can thrive on its own as an industry, connected to
exactly.
what.
Okay, so Jude, I would like you to help us to read the comments so that we can have our concluding part, and then we'll end the show.
Okay, Spelling Bee Nigeria extracurricular activities should not be limited to clubs, Rhoda or Digbel. Tayo Akeju, extracurricular activities in school gives the child what I call the total package. Sharing from my personal experience, I overcame stage fright when I joined the Literary and Debating Society and represented my school a couple of times. Today, I see leaders and CEOs of companies struggling to face the crowd or face the camera. Various abilities could have been honed from school via various extracurricular activities.
Totally agree.
I agree.
Tochio Kafor, extracurricular activities should be a part of the life of a child. A lot of schools charge quite a bit, and I think they should accommodate these practices. Sports, particularly, is helpful to help with obesity, which is on the rise in young children. Nana, volunteering as a culture fosters kindness, empathy, and compassion. It
Absolutely.
builds great leadership skills. Very true safety check.
Yeah.
Nana, thank you,
Dude,
Miss.
why is it Nana?
Jude is
We have
putting on his phonetic game.
we have to
Mhm.
put some panache to it, you know. We need to put some
Are
panache.
you auditioning for Big Brother?
I might find my talent here, you know. Okay, Nana. Thank you, Mr. Prophet. Nobody knows it all. Yes, we can only grow when we teach and learn from others. I think the idea of hoarding what we know is deeply rooted in the culture, in our culture and upbringing. I can go on and on. Programs like these are empowering. Thank you,
Thank
Nana.
you.
Yes, I call it
Folusha,
polygamous home mindset. You know that thing that happens in polygamous homes when you don't
yeah,
want this wife wants to outshine the other wife, the children of this wife. I mean, come on,
survival of the fittest.
you
Oh,
know.
Folusha, Folusha, the sky is wide enough, and I believe the more you teach, the more you learn. Thank you.
Right.
Folusha, knowledge requires expression. That's by Mr. Rotimi. Ifiok Ido, knowledge requires expression. Word. Rotimi Eitayo, one of the biggest challenge we have in Nigeria is corruption. Rhoda Odigbo.
Ah,
Team Masters, it is an opportunity to get the children to do different things. Rhoda Odigbo. Nana. Rhoda has hit the nail on the head. Corruption.
yeah. All
Why
right.
is Mr. Rotimi laughing?
It's you now.
You now, Jude.
I'm doing my job. I'm doing my job. And you're laughing. It's not fair. Nana, we have a lot of what you are describing, Mr. Rotimi. We have community centers that have tennis courts, ballet room, sailing clubs, etc. This is why volunteering is important. I was so excited when Safety Chick was excited. My God. Thank you, Nana. If you're Kudo, extracurricular should not be separated from academics. It is all interwoven and is important in the child's holistic development. Thank you. Oh, Yetunde Taiwo, my friend. Thank you for coming on. Laughing too with the way Mr. Jude pronounces Nana. Nana, I am laughing. Mr.
At this
Rotimi
point in time,
Aitayo.
that's all we can take.
Why are you doing this?
Thank you very much.
Rhoda, please close the show, please.
Did you call my name? I didn't hear that.
Yes,
Please
you said you
close,
should close the show.
Oh,
Rhoda. Please
I,
close the show.
I just want to say that Jude has done an incredible job reading the comments
Oh my
and
gosh.
that. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. It's obvious that the conversation around shaping the child is critical for all of us to take quite seriously. We've talked about all the players, teachers, parents, um, extracurricular activities. What was our? Oh, please remind me. That's so terrible. Teachers, parents. I didn't hear that. Sorry.
Environment.
The environment. These are critical
Yes.
players in shaping the child. But I think the competition is even beyond just the child, but the country. And so, as we, in Nigeria in particular, try to look out for a way to El Dorado, Some of the
Yeah,
things
yeah.
Yeah.
is look within the child. And if every parent can work and look, every parent, every educator, every stakeholder, policy makers, and all can see this shaping journey from the point of view of a child, then I think that there's definitely going to be a that door to that door that will be open to us in terms of shaping what Nigeria is going to be, shaping the direction that we're going to go. So that would be my thoughts, my closing thoughts. That looking at one child is always easier. Like when I accept almost 500,000 children, but believe me that when I'm writing a policy or when I'm writing a document, what I do is look at it and say, how will it affect one child? I always have a picture of a child in my face, in my memory. And that allows me to see it from the context of everybody. So let's go ahead and take some of the things that we've heard and even share with others. You know, all these conversations that we've had around shaping the child, they're very critical. Thank you, Whitney. Thank you, everyone.
Safety check.
Okay, so final words for me would just be we can also start it from the home where have team activities with among siblings, let them show leadership, let them do a project, and present to the parents. Make it fun, make it interesting. It could even be all the children, maybe in the apartment building or in the estate. Let's just start trying to take ownership of these things. Let's not leave it to just the school. As much as we can in our various spheres, let's try to do that. And please, find a way to get your child involved in a volunteering activity. That must be a life experience every child must have before they turn 16. Very important.
And
Yeah.
the prophet look.
Yes, I totally agree with safety check. You find that for me, I would say I'm the king of extracurricular activities. Yes, because even at home, I do things that my mom actually gets involved in, like sewing, right? And she did work in NEPA and all that, and she does all this. So automatically, it actually gives, it's casually kind of wired my brain to venture into a lot of things and actually explore, and which is very key to child development.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Someone mentioned that it's co-curricular, not extracurricular. Actually, they're both different concepts. I just wanted to make sure that we're clear about that. I
Okay.
think with Glory Guardian Schools, they're different. Co-curricular, those are more connected to academia. Extracurricular, you have things that just extend the child's skills towards other paths and all. There's not necessarily always academia. So those
I
two
think the problem with extracurricular, that people are, maybe we are not assessing it probably. That's one key thing that would have actually made it shine. We don't assess it, we just do it based on fun, but it could be accessible, not like grading, but it could be accessible somehow, and it will make it a more reliable way of getting data on the child's improvement.
absolutely. Assessing co-curricular very and extracurricular very important. There's a question here, Rotimi. Do you want to take it?
How do we get the volunteering services to involve the kids? I think that will require some level of profiling, especially
Yes.
based on what you're trying to achieve. There's some that exist, there's some that you can design. And I think the model to approach is a simple to complex approach. So, for example, if you would like your children or your students or your children or students, if you like them to probably experience something that has to do with leadership, you can design an extracurricular activity approach to it and work with the parents within the school. Or, for example, if it's just you want just them to experience life lessons of responsibility, you can actually look for one or two parents and decide to say that, you know what, we're coming up with what we call in their shoes. And then you get your students to swap to work in the parents of another, a child to work in another person's parent's office, maybe a day with that parent, and see how an office day experience is like. At the end of the day, they come back with the lessons, and then you can now top it up with the career week. You'll be shocked that the person that's always wanted to be a lawyer might change his mind or change her mind. You'll be shocked that somebody that's always wanted to be a lawyer might resolve. I have a particular school that I consulted for, and one of the erring children, one of the things that they did was they had talked to the child, counseling, pastoral care, everything, but the director of the school just said, let me take a different approach. And she sat him down and said, you know what, with the way you're behaving, what do you really want to be in life? He said he wants to be a lawyer and he's going to have his chamber. I was saying it with so much, how do I put the swag and all that? And then she said, okay, this is what I'll do. There's a son friend of mine. I'm going to call him up and ask him to spend the entire day with you. You're going to be in his office. You're going to look at every single thing. And guess what? They got the vehicle to pick him from home. He didn't come to school that day. So instead of just being suspended, they took him to the chambers of that senior advocate. And he saw the way he had meetings, he addressed the staff. The boy went to the canteen of the chambers, ate with them, asked questions. He was so excited. He came back the next day to school and tendered a personal apology and said, Ma, I promise to be the best, to do the best, that you've given me an opportunity to see what my future is like. Guess what? The boy became tops in their Cambridge exam. You understand?
Wow.
And that was just a defining moment. It altered him when he was trying to do cabal in school. He became a reformer. He became the model. That's when you hear the last shall be the first. He was a practical example of it. So
what you're talking about is called restorative justice. That's what you're talking about. That's what is supposed to be. It's part of how to engage children. You have a child who hacks into the school's website. That child becomes the one who is in charge of the school's website.
I love it.
All right, so I'm afraid we'll have to end here. Favor is asking, where is the place of the hidden curriculum? It's in the place of Rhoda's channel. Follow Rhoda on social media. You will find the hidden curriculum on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are actually out of time and we want to keep to 1 hour. So thank you so much. Thank you for joining. 3 to 5 p.m. today. Exclusive teacher diversification course. I'm telling you, in fact, Rhoda will be there, Jude will be there, and you might see their faces as well. And I will thank you for joining for the first time. I'm ringing the bell of blessing. Those who joined us from outside Nigeria, na. Or how did you call it?
Nah.
Sounds like yaya. All right, ladies and gentlemen, take care. Have a great day. Have a great week. Enjoy your holiday. Don't eat too much meat. Make sure you.
This one day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.